We're on page 131 at the bottom of the page, where it says pursue worldly means for your basic needs. So we continue our conversation about the relationship between making an effort and the relationship between making an effort and I'm just going to bring something up on my screen. The relationship between making an effort and trusting in Hashem. So I'm going to bring up in a moment a classic little cartoon, like a comic that is quite well known, that sort of in many ways sums up this whole discussion. But first, let's read in our books for a minute. The explanation of the proper bitachon is a person, the explanation of the proper bitachon a person should have regarding the second category, which is comprised of those matters that pertain to a person's property, the means through which he obtains his sustenance, and the manner which he conducts himself in his business. So the general guideline is whether his occupation, we spoke about this yesterday, whether his this is something we read yesterday at great length, whether his occupation involves commerce, craft, travel, appointment of a certain task, or being a hired worker, a clerk, a servant of the king, a treasurer, and all these other occupations, and similar occupations in which people involve themselves to amass wealth and increase their livelihood beyond that which is necessary for them. And here was the guideline, very, very important words. Here was the guideline. The correct manner in which the person is to rely on God regarding them is to involve himself in these occupations that the Creator has prepared for him, but only as much as is necessary for his needs, for his food, in order to obtain these worldly matters necessary for him. You work, you put your effort in for your necessities. What about your bonus? If the Creator decrees that he will have additional livelihood than that which is necessary, then it will come to him without his exertion and toil, provided that he relies on God for it. He should not increase his efforts to pursue means for additional livelihood, nor should he rely on them in his heart. For if it has not been decreed that he will have any more sustenance than he needs, then even if all the beings that are in the heavens and the earth made efforts to increase his livelihood more than has been decreed for him, they would not be able to do so in any manner or throughout any means. When he will rely on God, he will find peace of mind and tranquility of the soul, since he knows that whatever has been designated for him will not be passed over to anyone else, and that his sustenance will not reach him earlier or later than the time in which it has been decreed. As we've explained at great length in this class, we have to make our efforts, but only for our necessities in the natural way. If Hashem wants to bless us and give us a bonus, an increase of wealth, so then he'll give it to us. You don't need to go out and make yourself crazy to get it. You can make yourself crazy thinking you're going to make more. You're not going to make any more if Hashem doesn't want you to do it. A very, very, very interesting principle. Most people I know have a hard time integrating this idea into their lives. Most people think, the way the world thinks, most people think that the extra comes from extra effort. And the reality is it's not that way. And it's not easy for people necessarily to understand that, but that's the way it goes. I was just thinking as I was talking about this classic little comic strip that you might have seen, this little cartoon. What do you call this, a cartoon or a comic? Or both?
Both.
Anyway, you see this man, he's fishing. What's the fish doing?
Jumping into the basket.
So it says over here on this side, it says hishtadlus, hishtadlut. You know what hishtadlut means? Hishtadlut means effort. Bitachon means faith. So here it says bitachon, here it says effort. So the cartoonist is trying to explain the interplay between these ideas that we've said, right? You make your efforts by fishing, and from somewhere else, the fish will jump into your basket. And very often that's how life works. We make our effort and Hashem sends the result from somewhere else. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You agree with us? Have you ever had that experience in your life?
Yes.
You ever had the experience, you put all your effort somewhere else, and then out of left field, somehow or another, you have this bracha, and you wonder, the chachamim, the idiots, chachamim means the wise people, but it's also used to express the opposite of those that are wise. The chachmei chelm. You ever heard of the chachmei chelm?
Yeah.
Wise men of chelm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they think, after they turn around and they see the fish in their basket, they think, oh, I didn't have to what a waste of time that I spent with a rod in the water, right? With a line in the water. They're thinking, what a waste of time. They don't realize that had they not put the line in the water, the fish would never have jumped into the basket. That's the way it works. Hashem will cause the fish to jump into the water if you put the line in the water. The discerning reader, the astute observer, the observant Jew will notice this wherever they look. You put in your efforts and the blessing comes from somewhere else. And you push it, you can actually see how God runs the world when you open up your eyes to these kinds of realities. So it's not that I didn't need to spend the past 3, right? I didn't need to spend the past 5 days working on something because something else happened that made the whole thing redundant. No, had you not put in the 5 days of effort, you wouldn't have had that other result, positive result. Okay. Now we open up a new theme, the test of wealth. So if Hashem wants you to have more, he'll give you more, right? So we dive into Hashem, we should have more and open ourselves up to possibly the most difficult test of all, which in many ways is the test of our generation, which is the test of wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, it's late. It's not so late, but I have to leave early today. So we're going to stop here. I didn't want to cancel class because we had the opportunity to do a little bit of learning. Tomorrow, we will come back and continue. I've got to get to an airport. See you tomorrow for the next session. Have a wonderful day.
Levi, you want to call me about getting together?
Yep, I'll call you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.
Have a wonderful
Thank you. You
day.
too.